Hey, welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm your host, Sal Internado. The Black Knight Nation podcast is brought to you by Higher Echelon. We appreciate Higher Echelon sponsoring this podcast. Give us a like on our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page, and we have a very special guest this afternoon. We have Sean Saturnio, Army Special Teams coach. Coach, we really appreciate you hopping on for a little bit today to talk some Army football.
Oh, it's a blessing. Always wonderful to talk some Army football.
No doubt, no doubt. And I'll tell you, the first two games of the season, our Army wins, and in each win, there's a special teams play involved in the game. And man, I could watch that Matt Rhodes fake field goal run about 1,000 times. I could watch it on a limited reel. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about what went into that, what goes into a play like that, and also just Matt Rhodes in general, just the way he's that being in that position and being that high impact position there.
Well, just to answer your first question, I think, as you scour through film, you're always, and on all three phases, you're trying to find something that hopefully that you may come up and you'll be able to take advantage of. And it just so happened that they got into a look that we were hoping they would. And it just allowed us to get that fake called. And the kids just executed it wonderfully. Matt obviously did a great job of reading it and, parking that thing in the garage and with great ball security, which was fantastic. We always harp on the little things over there. So if you see, you see the run and everything, but you see him really doing a great job of protecting the football as he's crossing the goal line, which is, what is the hallmark of our program. But you also got Trey Granati running out, staying in pitch relationship, which stretches the edge more. You had Hayden Reed doing a great block downfield, as well as Owen Walter, who was able to pick up a backside guy that allowed us to get that play sprung. And you just can't be happier for Matt, going into his senior year. I'm a big fan of redemption stories, and his first college rep wasn't quite what he wanted it to be as a punter, but he's really focused on becoming the very best all-around football player he can be. And that's, part of it's taking on the role of being a holder, which, doesn't get as much credit as it probably should, because, you never want to notice the holder at all. That's one of the big things over there. But what you want to be able to do is to have everything look normal. And, that's what they do. But, being able to get the ball spotted, the laces turned around, all these things. And just to be a great security blanket for your kickers, you can't say enough about what having a good holder would do for your overall group.
Yeah. When you're drawing this play up, because I'm thinking I've never seen a holder score on a run that distance, right? And I'm thinking about in my head now, you just popped it up. They have a award for the holder of the year award, and I'm thinking that's got to put Matt right there for scoring a touchdown, right? I mean, when you're drawing this up, have you ever seen the play happen? Have you ever, or is this kind of just something like you say, you see a scheme, right? And you're drawing this up. Is this the first time you've seen a play like that work, so to speak?
Well, I haven't seen a play score off that particular look, but it's always great to have someone that you could have been part of that history there. But it's something that we practice a ton of. So there's a lot of bank reps. You never know if it ever will be able to to call it. There's so many things that have to go in for something like that to happen. And it just so happened to be that day they ended up in a look that you wanted to see. And can't give enough credit for just how well the kids executed those things. And that's always what's the joy about coaching our guys up here. There's never a detail too small, and they hone in on it and they work hard at it and they keep going and keep going. And when the times comes to execute, it just they fall back on what they've been trained to do. And it's just wonderful as a coach and to see it just unfold as it did, because you're not expecting the score. You're hoping you pick up a first down, obviously, and then you start seeing things start unfolding, and you're like, oh, we might be able to get this. Then it's like, well, we're going to score. It was awesome. What a like I said, it's just for the team in general, just because that was a gritty game. I mean, that was the guys got put through. You talk about just what the environment was like, and the no flinch DNA that our guys carry, and just finding ways. And always a blessing to be part of. Just people, that collective spirit that we're going to find a way regardless of what's happening.
One quick question, then we have actually a viewer question real quick. When did you think you started practicing that specific play? Was it had to be this preseason or no?
Oh, we've practiced a play like this for years.
Okay.
We've had stuff like, yeah, it's just something we've practiced over and over. And there's, just the opportunity came up, and the preparation was there by the kids, and they were able to execute.
This viewer stole my question for you, Coach. How many more tricks do you have up your bag? And he says a lot.
We always like to dabble around in the lab, as we say over here, and try to see what we can come up with.
Wanted to ask you about, you talked about a West Point football player and how they just want as much information as possible, even on the football field, in the classroom. And I wanted to talk to you about the camaraderie you have in your group. We know that the tightness of the coaching staff and the players, the brotherhood, but then you go to take it a step further to the special teams and what you call the union. And I just want, if you could talk about how that is built and what you have, how special you have it there.
We spend a lot of time just overall, just working to develop them as just people, because in the end, I think when you got investment in a person, that it becomes very transformational in each other's lives versus transactional, then amazing things not can happen, but will happen. It might not always happen when you want them to happen, but it'll bear fruit down the line. So I really believe the time that they spend together, and we talk about things that far more than just football, but getting into the things that their hopes, their dreams, the things that they've been challenged with, all sorts of stuff. And I think that's a big thing. We spent a lot of time on the mental side of just developing the mental side of their craft, because most people don't understand. So many things have to go exactly correct for it to look normal, not outstanding, just normal. And for them to deal with, a lot of things, talk about really being process oriented versus outcome oriented. And that's a huge thing to help them navigate through these things. And just the fact they're just a great bunch that just love each other. And that's one of the things too, that when you got that type of investment, you're going to constantly, we got a room that's filled with healthy competition. And that's one of the things too, unlike maybe other places where, everybody's competing to be the guy, but not everybody's going to be the guy, but they help each other get better. If there's something that they see that something's maybe a little amiss in technique, they're not the guys that, well, I'm not going to say anything because I want to get the number one job, but they'll help each other grow. And it's refreshing, because it's to be around a group that surrenders the word me for we. That's not as common as, you'd hope it to be in society, but that's what everything we'd expect over here.
Yeah, no doubt. You look at last year, for years, Quinn and Moretzky and Cole Talley's relationship, how they worked off each other too. Amazing to see. Your field goal operation, or your extra point operation, is kind of brand new, right? So having that Owen Walter, who you talked about being the snapper as a sophomore, Matt Rhodes the holder, and Trey Granati, I mean, that's worked pretty smoothly. I mean, that's just that probably shows in practice, no doubt. Right.
And one of the things too, I think, because we've had Cole and Quinn for so long, that I don't think people realize that we saw it at practice all the time. The other guys that were in the proverbial bullpen, they were doing a really good job. They just, weren't at the part that they would, take the spots of the other guys, but they weren't that far off too. And, going in, we had a brand new kickoff specialist, brand new field goal guy, brand new long snapper, you had brand new everybody's over there. And, we talk about not trying to go out and prove people wrong. We talk about, let's go prove ourselves right. that we got that belief in what our group is and what individually everybody's capable of doing. And that's all that matters. Prove yourself right. And it's been great to see their preparation from the spring through the summer, the competition. It's been great to see. It's everybody has gained and grown from that. Them pushing each other and them exceeding probably what a lot of people thought they were going to do, but just seeing them, like we said, being able to prove themselves right, that, the group had everything that it needed to do, needed to have to be successful.
No doubt. Want to ask you about where your love for special teams started.
Ah, shoot. I think, just like a lot of guys, when you're a young football player in college, that's usually the first time you get on the field. But one of the things that's been amazing, I think, for me, I was a longtime head high school coach back in the islands. And it's the closest thing back to being a head coach again, in the sense that, you get to work with all the kids. And that's just for me. I love these kids, man. I love being pouring into their lives. And, it affords an opportunity that you get to work with everybody in the program, every single position out there. And that's what I love. It's exciting to come up with different things and to game plan, and then to be real technical on the fundamentals and things like that. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy that, but all of that is a vast second place to just the love for these kids and the coaches, that everybody who pours into their lives as well.
No doubt. My last question for you would be recruiting the home island, that Hawaii, and what that is. How important is that for Army? We've seen it with Kalen Holt, we've seen it with Quinn Moretsky, and just like, what's that like to go back and try to recruit kids to come to West Point from the island?
Yeah, well, I think it's a great match. I think kids, with whether they're from the islands or they got island roots, you got this warrior DNA that kind of courses through your blood. And I think um, especially the people from Polynesia, there's been a really strong representation in the armed forces. But most of that has been through like the enlisted route, and to have our kids have that opportunity at a place like West Point, where they can go out and lead, and be the ones that can bring their culture and the everything that's wonderful about the island culture, and be able to share it with people across the world, is something really special. That holds an extra special place in my heart. I love it from all of the kids that we're able to recruit and come here and see something much greater than themselves, that they're willing to, commit to. And, that brings you so much joy, because of how it'll affect not just our country, but the world in general. But to have those island kids, that's special.
Yeah, especially on a day like this, right? 9/11, and
Mm.
remembering, and those who have served and gave their lives for us. Real quick, wanted to tell you, had Cole Talley and Nick Schregg on this podcast, and they always talk about how much they really love playing for you, and you see that with the current crop of specialists too, and players too. You had that Union hard hat that they signed for you, right? That's, I mean, Coach, it
Yeah.
doesn't get any better than that, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. And just having that in 2021, the kids got together, that group got together, got me an ukulele that they all signed, which was awesome as well. And we also have a group, our what we call the Sauce Team Hui, which is a kind of like a little sub leadership group that we've had. Got everybody, all the different grade levels, guys from offense and defense. But the one criteria is that they all had an investment or success in special teams early on.
Hmm.
And it's a neat little leadership group that we get to do stuff through, the summer together. And they're the ones that, end up running the special teams parts of the player-led practices, and seeing the investment of those guys, that, they straight, like I said, it's composed of offensive and defensive kids and all different grade levels. And it's just to see them, continue to grow. And it's, you see it as they get older, their role on special teams usually gets a little lower because now they're playing more on offense and defense. But like we talk about, having a culture that gets to instead of just has to play special teams is a wonderful thing to be a part of.
No doubt. I mean, a guy like Jabril Williams is somebody that we could talk about at another podcast because I think that he's one of the best special teams players I've seen. And I think that there should be an award for special teams player of the year in college football. Not necessarily a specialist because they already have that award, but like a cover guy or a guy who blocks kicks. And I don't know what you would call it, the Steve Tasker Award or whatever.
Oh man, I tell you what, that you talk about a great special teams player. And then, yeah, it's funny. We calculated like Fabrice Voin, who just graduated a little while ago. He played over 600 snaps on special teams in his career here. Wow. We can go back and so you get guys like that have just done, amazing things. And it's like I said, it's a joy to be part of their lives and just to see them become so successful, because like that, and then, a lot of them, like we said, it's like Max DiDomenico, he first started as a special teams guy and, now he's doing outstanding things on defense, but, he's also still part of our sauce team Hui, where, going into his senior year, he's still at all our little get-togethers and things like that. And when you see, I think it's a great testimony that's shared with the younger kids when you see how important it is for the older kids. And when the older kids still want to play more special teams, even though they're starters on offense and defense, I think speaks a lot to how much their investment is in the overall culture of the program in general, but, and the special teams units.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, Coach, we really appreciate your time. And you have a bye week, so I know you're probably cooking up some more bag of tricks, right? So
I tell you what, having a head coach like Coach Monken, who's a special teams guy by trade as well, and he does a fantastic job too. You don't see a ton of head coaches that are as involved on special teams as Coach Monken is. And, he's always the guy that, there's a little gunslinger in him too, that what you always love to see over there. And it's just very blessed that, get the opportunity to coach with him and the rest of our staff. And, we got Peyton Yanagi, who's my special teams quality control coach, who's here. We got a full-time position with that. And we got Jacoby, Buchanan, who's our AI, which is a great thing to have too. And just always seeing that, kind of full circle where, Jacoby didn't play a ton of special teams, over the years, although he was, on all the depths all the time. And just seeing these kids come in as freshmen and then graduate and then being able to work with them on a professional level has been something really awesome to be a part of.
It's amazing. I've seen it firsthand at practice, the detail that you guys give to special teams and then the guys coming back as AIs. It's awesome. I really appreciate your time, Coach, this afternoon, and all the best to you the rest of the season. And thanks a lot for taking a couple minutes.
All right. My pleasure. Aloha, everybody.